Cheese. All right, and welcome back to That's Some Cheese, part of the Vendetta Sports Podcast Network. Of course, we are brought to you by VendettaSportsMedia.com. Haven't done a podcast in a while, but we are back, and we're going to discuss the Red Sox offseason. On the phone with me, colleague Zach Black. Zach, how we doing today?
Oh, we're doing good. Day after Halloween. So, hopefully no one's here to,
All
The
right.
only thing that can be scarier if the Yankees get Cole.
So, last time we kind of kept it structured. I think the convo that we had after the podcast was better. So, we're just going to let this fly. I'm not going to have any specific questions written down. I don't even have anything written down. So, let's see how this goes here. Let's open the floor for you. Your first thoughts, Red Sox offseason. What's the plan? What do they do?
Well, we're planning on JD Martinez opting out. We've got to pencil that in.
Probably.
And that's fine. That actually works out better for us. Now, we got to come up with a cheaper bat. We know Bradley's probably going to dip, or we're going to try and not bring back Bradley. I have a cheaper replacement for him, and then we need pitching. And a closer. How we're going to accomplish all of that under the budget? Well, I actually have a few ideas.
All right, let's go.
All right. So, Zach Wheeler, first.
Love that idea.
You bring him in to replace Porcello, and that he's instantly better than Porcello with that 5.0 ERA.
Oh my God! Every time he took the mound, it felt like you were losing.
It's like, really? This is the guy we're paying. This guy wants that.
Literally last year,
serious?
or this past year, every single time Rick Porcello took the mound, I couldn't watch the game.
I watched the game. I was just...
Well,
it was disgusting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every time he took the mound, you just felt like they were losing.
Except for the one Yankees game he pitched well in. I was like, return of 2017 Porcello? Next game, that was like 8 runs. Nope.
I do like the Zach Wheeler idea, though, because I do think he has really good stuff. He throws hard. He's got like a 90-mile-an-hour slider. I think you get him away from the Mets, give him a little change of scenery, I think he could be really good.
Well, also then, now, this is something that I don't know if everyone's going to agree on, but I think it's time to just trade David Price.
Huh. How are you going to do that?
Trade him to a contender. You find a contender who needs a good starting pitcher.
Big contract, though.
Yeah, but for a team that's maybe a ace away, I don't know if I consider David Price an ace, but GMs aren't always the brightest.
See, the only problem with that I have is I don't know how you replace him. Like, I think the Sox have enough pitching problems as it is to where you get into a playoff series, can you really trade Price and come up with a better alternative in a game 2 or 3 in a playoff series to where you feel good?
Well, actually, I like what I saw from Eduardo Rodriguez last year.
That's fair.
End of the season,
but I think they need him regardless.
No, but because you trade him, now you can afford another pitcher.
And who's that?
That's some more cap taken.
But I feel like at the same point, you're not going to clear the whole Price salary. You would have to do something like, I saw something the other day, someone suggested Price to the Rangers for Shin-Soo Choo. I feel like you would you can't just clear the whole thing. You'd have to get something back. I don't know that even a trade like that makes sense.
But if you get Choo, all right, then does that solve really any of your issues?
That's
because you're going to need another outfielder too.
That's what I'm saying. Find me a trade where you trade Price. Fine, that sounds great. But what are you getting? Because if you're just clearing price and you're taking back something that doesn't really feel useful, then what's the point?
So I'm proposing a sign-in trade.
Oh, God. What's that?
Sign-in trade to the Braves for Julio Teheran. I don't know if I said his name right, but
Braves he'll be a free agent anyway. I think they'll decline his thing.
No, I think they're gonna. But like that way, if they sign him, at least they get a solid starter back for a young team, relatively young pitching wise, anyways, right?
I mean, I think the Braves would maybe look at that. I don't know. It's just find me the team that's going to take price and he's going to send you back something that makes sense. I don't know if I buy that.
I mean,
and at the same time,
I think you can do it because GMs aren't always the smartest. So
at the same time, you have to think about it this way: Game 2, World Series. You throw David Price out there, you don't feel terrible about it. You throw out Eduardo Rodriguez or whoever the guy you replace him with, do you really feel good about it? Do you feel better about it?
Do we? I mean, maybe not. But do you see the Red Sox in the World Series next year?
I think it's possible.
Maybe. But then, again, unless we're trading somehow our farm pieces, which if we're trying to make sustainable, we have to go for cheap contracts, our young players that are good, that are on the up. So are we going to just be trading that for, I don't even know who you could trade in that sense, for a young pitcher who's on the up, on the upcoming.
Well, let's start with this. Red Sox hire Chaim Bloom. What do you think of that? Because that I'm very encouraged with. I watched his entire introductory press conference. I'm blown away. Like, there's just some guys, you hear them speak, and you're just like, dude, you're dumb. Like, if you ever watch, like, Bruce Allen of the Redskins speak, you just know that guy's stupid.
And they're great culture.
Like, there are just some people, all you have to do is hear him speak for 2 minutes, and it's like, buddy, just shut up. But this Bloom guy, when he speaks, he just sounds intelligent. I believe the words that are coming out of his mouth. What do you think of him?
I like it. I mean, what he did to the Rays, I was like, okay, well then. I didn't see what their past few years. I did not see the Rays becoming like what they were now, a playoff team.
Anybody that can trade Chris Archer and get back Glasnow and Meadows, I'm in on you.
Yeah. So we'll give up Evaldi and then go get two better pitchers. Or a better pitcher and another star in the making. Can you do that?
And I really liked what he did with signing Charlie Morton. I think that was really smart. I think trading for Yandy Diaz was a really smart move. All this guy did was make really smart moves. So I'm happy with the hiring of Chaim Bloom here.
Yeah, no, I like it.
So I did write a little article on a couple of my ideas. And I think fans are just lunatics. Like, this JD Martinez thing, if he thinks he's getting more money, I think he's out of his mind. Who's giving that guy $65 million over 3 years to be a DH? Like, is he really getting more money?
Smart.
He's getting more money than that? I think he's out of his mind.
I think a logical GM would say he's out of his mind. But I'm not.
That's not even factoring into the
GMs to be smart.
Like, let's say he does opt out. Well, the Red Sox are going to put the qualifying offer on him, which means you have to give up a draft pick just to sign him. So you're telling me some team is not only going to give him more money than $65 million over 3 years, some team's also going to outpay that and give up draft picks to sign him? Really?
Maybe a team. No, I wouldn't. The team, if the National League had a DH rule, I know a team that would.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, a team's really going to do this. Okay, so let's take out the entire National League because he's pretty much a DH and he's awful in the field. I hate when they play him in the field.
Oh, that was like, no, just no. Please, no.
I hate when he can't catch fly balls.
His arm's not that good either. It just isn't.
He can't really run either. So let's take out the entire National League because the National League's not signing him. Then you got to take out the teams like Baltimore and the low revenue teams like Tampa. They're obviously not going to afford him. Then you take out the teams that already have a DH like Yankees with Stanton, Twins with Cruz. You're left with like Toronto if they would want him, and the White Sox.
What about the Angels?
Well, don't you have to save that spot for Ohtani when he's like not pitching and all that? Like if you sign a full-time DH, what's the point of having Ohtani hit? You can't really. So I feel like that spot's closed too. And you already have Pujols. Like, and wouldn't you want, like, you can't really play Pujols in the field either. So you kind of have to.
You can play Pujols at first base, I feel like.
For 150 games a year, you're going to play Pujols at first base?
No, all right, so, again, I would not be, if I was the Angels, I wouldn't have signed Pujols to begin with. So
well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, find me the team that's going to give J.D. Martinez more than $65 million over 3 years and give up draft picks for him while also picking a team that doesn't already have a DH. It's impossible.
I think the Angels make the most sense because I feel like you can put Ohtani somewhere. You can make him play a position. And Pujols, he's going to retire soon enough, so it's 1 year of worrying about that.
And even if you're the Angels, because I feel like there's no reason why they can't put Ohtani and Pujols at DH or swap them out. Wouldn't you want to spend your money on pitching? Like that, the Angels have zero pitching. The Angels don't have a pitcher worth my left pinky toe. Like, if you're the Angels and you're going to spend money, why wouldn't you want pitching? Adding J.D. Martinez, I mean, what does that get you?
I mean, so you're not wrong in that sense. But a team so hungry to make the playoffs, because they have Mike frickin' Trout. And if that doesn't show you one player can't make you to one player doesn't make a team, then I don't know what does. But if you put JD and Trout, now you got a 1-2 punch there. I don't know. Sometimes great hitting can motivate pitching.
So,
like if you have
So the Angels, okay, give me another team. Because you got to have more than one team that's going to pay for you.
No, that's true.
There's got to be some kind of market for them. Where's the market?
So this is another iffy one, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities that the Rockies do something like that. Because their right fielder, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but isn't the greatest fielder either. But he hits like 300 and hits like 30 home runs.
David Dahl?
Martinez does that as well. So
I don't feel like the National League would do this. Is the National League really going to do that?
I feel like someone would. It's not out of... I could see it happening.
I think the guy's nuts. I don't think he's... I really have a hard time believing that guy's going to get more money.
Yeah, I mean, I could also... I don't know if he will, but I'm saying there might be a few teams that will overpay.
So let's say Martinez walks and the Red Sox have no DH. I feel like Edwin Encarnacion makes too much sense. You're telling me that they can't sign him for $8 million a year. They plug him in at DH, and you're not getting 80% of JD.
I wouldn't say 80 because his batting average. I'd say 75%, but for also a quarter of his contract.
I feel like that makes way more sense. In fact, I would rather trade JD if he opts in and have that scenario. Like, if you're telling me which one I'd rather have the Encarnacion one.
Well, all right, where would you trade him to, though?
I don't have a clue.
Yeah, I mean...
that's my entire point. If this guy thinks he's getting more money, I think he's nuts.
Now, speaking of trades, we have to discuss one trade, unfortunately. And Mookie Betts.
I don't think it's happening. I see all these people. I see all these people like, oh, they're like the sky's falling. It's just like, first of all these reports coming out, they don't even have a GM. So all these people that think like, oh, this is happening and this is happening. All these reports came out when they didn't have a GM. Like, you really think things are decided before they have a guy who's in charge of personnel? Like that all those reports that came out before the Bloom hiring made absolutely no sense. And since he's been hired, there have been absolutely zero rumors about it.
Exactly. But let's put it out there that if they trade him, you can trade him anywhere.
Him, yeah.
Well, if you had to pick a team, where would you put him if you're the GM?
I feel like... I don't know why, but I feel like the Dodgers came to mind only because they have so much depth that even if they made some sort of trade like this, it wouldn't kill him. But I know Andrew Friedman is such a pussy that he'd never do it.
What if I threw a team like the Braves at you? You think they might?
I think it's possible. I don't know if they want to go down the route of paying two outfielders like that, though. Because Acuna's going to get the mother load.
That's true, but, you have Mookie, Acuna, and all these. And then some of those pitching prospects, some of them are going to hit.
I honestly believe, I don't think it's going to happen. I
don't either, but I'm saying, if the Red Sox can nab just a few of the pitching prospects, and we lose Mookie, that's a loss, but
I think if it happens, it's going to be at the trading deadline and the Red Sox are out of it. And they could say, listen, maybe we can sign him in the offseason, but there's no reason why we can't get something for him now. I think that's the only way it happens.
Oh, so pulling a John Lester. I like it.
I think that would be... Because what would be the point of giving up on the season? If you're out of it at the trade deadline, we can trade him anyway, and we're pretty much going to get the same thing back. Not?
You'd get a house, 2 cars, a swimming pool back for him.
But I'm saying, if you trade him now and you trade him at the trade deadline, are you really going to get that much less? I don't think you are.
No, he's that good. He's that good of a player that there's no way you don't get.
You're going to get the value for him anyway. So the difference between trading him now and trading him at the trade deadline, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that would be the only way it does happen. To where they could go into the offseason, say, listen, you know what? We could sign him in the offseason. Screw it.
But hey, I mean, we're not GMs, so... But I don't know who would make a call for him. Who feels that they're going to win that much that they're going to make a call for him? And then also has prospects that they're willing to give up.
Well, so many of these GMs now hoard everything.
Exactly. It's like they're afraid of a star player leaving, that it's like, I don't necessarily want to go for it because, if I do and then the player leaves, where are we?
That's why I really don't see it happening. I really, really don't. But I will say that I don't know if I would pay him.
No. I don't think we have a choice.
I agree with you. But I'm not 100% give the guy whatever he wants.
No.
I don't think you can do that.
You have a figure.
Yeah.
You have a number.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying I'm not 100% sure that you can just give him whatever he wants.
I mean, yeah, actually. But what is he worth is the question.
I don't have a clue.
I remember writing an article about what he's worth, and by player market, he's worth more than Machado and Harper.
Yeah. I mean, you're also talking to the guy who doesn't think Bryce Harper is any good, so.
I think that Harper is a younger J.D. Martinez, in a sense. Where he only made sense if he went to the AL.
I think he's C.J. Cron in the outfield.
No, his offense is there. His offense is real.
All right, I think he's Avisail Garcia in the outfield.
I think that, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I have more faith in him that he'll have more good years down the line than you. But
two of his last 3 years in Washington, he hit under 250.
No, you're right. That's bad.
Like, that guy's not worth $300-some million.
Again, I agree it's an overpay, but it's just the way it is now. Wait, who signed first, him or Machado?
Machado did, I think.
All right, I think Machado was a grossly overpay too.
Well, I don't get the Padres. They're just so irrelevant. Did they get last?
I mean, I understand why the Padres did what they did. They're so not relevant in the state of California, where a hockey team's actually more relevant than you. Both hockey teams, mind you. That they need someone to say, hey guys, we have X.
Let's get back to the Red Sox here. Because screw the Padres. Anyway,
yeah.
The other thing I want to mention...
Not even relevant to be in the podcast.
The other thing I want to mention, I love J.D. Martinez. I'm all over the place. I love Jackie Bradley Jr. I think he is the best defensive center fielder in baseball. And I value him more than other people would value him. However, if we're going to cut costs here and try to get under the tax, I don't see any way how they can put together the roster next year and he's on it.
No, I don't either. Matter of fact, I think I sent you a name. Let's see. Name I sent you was...
How'd you forget?
I got a lot of things on my mind. Billy Hamilton. I feel like he could adequately replace him. I feel like he's a good defensive center fielder, and he's fast. So, that adds... Or he's faster than Bradley. So, he can steal extra bases too, and he hits about the same average.
I don't think he's the same kind of arm talent, though.
No, you're right. But it's like, if we can get him for way cheaper, it's almost worth the sacrifice if we're trying to get under the budget.
It's not a bad option. I love Jackie Bradley. I don't know how you feel about him. I love the guy. But there are some people, you just have to be honest about it. Like, he can't really hit. And I know that he can't hit.
That's how I feel about him. That's how I felt about Marcus Smart for the longest time.
Yes, like...
You're here, but could you shoot? Could you hit a three?
You just have to be honest about these things. Like, I say this all the time. I get the people that like Westbrook. But can't you just be honest with yourself and just say, listen, you can't win with this guy. I love Jackie Bradley, but there are about 30 outfielders you can plug in there and get pretty much the same thing. Whether he's better at fielding or worse than fielding or better at hitting or worse, you can recreate Jackie Bradley.
I mean, that's 100% true. I'm I wasn't sold on Jackie the same way I'm not necessarily sold on Benintendi.
Oh, see, there I would disagree. I think he has a chance to become, like, superstar good. And he's not playing like that yet.
The chance is always there.
He's not playing like that yet?
I'm saying performance doesn't give me any indications why I should believe that yet.
I think he's still young. What, he's in his third season?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think that guy's got a chance to... If you told me 3 years from now who's the best player in the Red Sox, I would give it a 30% chance that he's it.
For me, it would be Bogarts, Devers, then Benintendi.
I agree with you, but he's in the conversation. And I wouldn't be surprised...
I mean, that also depends on where Sale is in 3 years. So
I wouldn't be surprised 3 years from now you're saying, what's the AL All-Star team look like? And he's standing out in left field. I would not be shocked.
I see him being an All-Star next year. It's just the All-Star is going to increase his market value, and unless he shows like drastic improve, like he doesn't hit lefties very well at all. He just doesn't.
No. But the thing I do like about him, though, a lot of left-handed hitters, it's almost like you don't want them because they hit into the shift so many times that they just don't get on base. He goes the other way. I think he's a valuable left-handed hitter. And I think he's perfect for that spot in the order where you can move guys over and you don't feel like he's going to hit into a shift or a double play. He really sprays the ball everywhere. That's the thing I love about him.
If he just had a little more pop, I think he would be perfect because he hits the other way and there's the monster right there.
There's just too many good things about him that I don't see how he's not going to be very, very good. These things come and go. Like, people sat there last year and like, oh, Devers, like, God, he's just not. You got to give these guys time.
I'm giving him time. I'm giving Chavis time too. Even though I was impressed for him for about a month, and then I'm like, so this is the guy y'all hyping up? Really? Okay.
Let's think about how do we improve this team in the other ways. I think first base has to be a spot. I think the bullpen has to be a spot. Do we have any ideas there?
I say don't touch. Let the young guys figure out first base.
So Sam Travis is your guy.
I want it to be a young one.
Sam Travis is
I don't know, Sam Travis. I thought they were bringing up maybe Tristan Cass next year.
I don't think he's ready. I think he's still in single A.
No, I thought they were bringing up somebody next year. Or was it Dahlback? It was someone they were bringing up next year.
He's a third baseman.
I know, but you spend one summer or one spring training, you can pretty much pick it up.
I heard that they don't want to do that because he's actually like, they say he's like one of the best defensive third basemen coming up. Like they think he's.
So then, what do you do with Devers?
I don't. I think you have to move Dahlbeck. I don't like. All they say is they don't want to move him because they think his glove's too good at third. Well, he doesn't have a place to play, buddy. So.
And unless you're going to make Devers your first baseman, and
no,
I thought Devers improved on third.
I think he was actually good at third.
Well, I wouldn't. I mean, good. I guess like slightly above league average.
I think he was a not a great, but a good defensive third baseman last year.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Except for if we get rid of the first month, I could say he was a great defensive third baseman. Get rid of April.
Marco Hernandez, is he like?
I don't know what he is to me.
I don't think anybody.
I'm still figuring him out.
See the thing, like, I would like Chavis at second. Give me a real first baseman. I don't care how you find it, but I don't want Chavis at first base every day.
I mean, what if Chavis at first and Holt at second?
Well, Holt's a free agent. Are you going to bring him back?
Yeah, I don't think he'll attract that much money.
It's possible.
If you get him from cheap enough. but I don't want you overpaying for Brock Holt.
How about any relievers?
I swear, if Brock Holt,
I think
like $5 million or above, I'm losing it.
I think reliever-wise, this is the number one thing that needs to get done.
Yeah, no, that's 100% accurate, but
I don't care how he does it. If I see another closer blow 50% of their saves again, I'm going to lose my mind. Because last year, that is the number one reason why they missed the playoffs. You can't lead the league in saves and then expect to win. That team was way good enough to be in the playoffs. You can't.
We were a Will Smith away.
You can't blow more games than anybody else and then say, yeah, well, you know, we don't really need a closer. Like, come on.
I mean, but who do we get? Like, pick a name.
I don't really have an answer. I'm gonna trust Chaim Bloom figures this out because it's realistically the number one thing that needs to get figured out.
Can we get Iglesias, I think, Raciel?
Possibly.
I don't think Velasquez is an option anymore unless you're really willing to trade some good prospects.
Let me also say this. I think that I know people want to hammer Evaldi. I think he's good next year.
I don't disagree. I mean, what do we define as good, though? Like 3.5 ERA?
I think he can do that.
If he gets me, 170 strikeouts and 3.5 ERA, that's a success for me.
All I read is how people are hammering this guy and how they can't wait to get rid of him. I'm the opposite. I think he's going to be good next year. I don't think you can take what he did this year and say, like, oh, well, bad contract. Come on. Like, he barely pitched.
Wasn't he injured?
Yeah, he barely pitched.
All year. And then you put him as a closer. Are you serious? Do not reverse Daniel Barton.
That was egregious, beyond egregious. The thing I didn't understand is all these people hammering him, all these media guys hammering him. This guy barely pitched, and then you threw him in the bullpen, and you're like, oh well, now he's not doing good. Well, what do you expect? This guy had arm injuries all year, and now you're telling him to come out of the pen and throw 100% of his pitches max. Like, why would you do that? That makes no sense.
But nobody said anything about Cashner all year, and he was just awful.
Well, I said things about Cashner.
All right, yeah. I remember texting you with Optus. I was like, hey, hold on. Maybe this will work out. Maybe they're no, never mind.
I was heated when they made that trade.
I remember that. All you were doing is like, no.
Heated.
Another. Trey is always right. Seriously. Would it kill you to be wrong? Please.
That's a good place to go because this is another narrative that needs to stop. All these people, well, Dave Dombrowski didn't deserve to get fired. Really? Like, I get the fact that you win the World Series, you deserve a grace period. This guy could not have done more things horribly. Like, he deserved to be fired, in my opinion, because let's look at some of the examples. You go into the season as defending World Series champions with closer by committee. That's embarrassing. Then you lose Kimbrel and Joe Kelly. That's fine. The fact that you don't replace them, and then you say we have internal candidates, egregious. And then you go into the season, and then guys are blowing saves left and right, and then you get to the trade deadline and say, couldn't make a trade for anybody. Are you kidding me? And then at the deadline, you say, well, we need another starter to fill up for some innings. And you trade for Cashner, and he has no clue that the Red Sox play at Fenway Park in a small... It's not really like... I don't know how to describe it, but it's not a big stadium. You need guys that can keep the ball... Like, you need guys that can throw strikeouts.
Down.
You can't have guys go in and be sinker ball pitchers where the guys put the ball in play. That doesn't work at Fenway. Andrew Cashner had the lowest strikeout rate. That's not working in Fenway. Like,
only way you can be there's a few and far between examples of where sinker ball pitchers might work.
Not in Fenway. You can't bring in Andrew Kashner and say, yeah, like, he's not going to strike anybody out in Fenway. Like, that doesn't work. You got to know the ballpark.
That's true. Like, at first I was like, grace period, but then he only made mistake after mistake after mistake.
And the other thing, I get wanting to keep Chris Sale. You cannot hand that contract out the way he finished the season. And I get wanting to keep him. But if they would have just not signed him and went into this offseason, Chris Sale's a free agent, they could have signed him for significantly less than what they ended up giving him.
All right, devil's advocate, though. What if he goes out there and wins the Cy Young Award?
That's fair.
Does his value go up?
I don't know. I think.
No, I'm saying though, like his value has to go up.
I think the thing was like, I think it was smart to let it play out because of the way he finished. Because he like barely pitched in the second half of the season, and he had some arm problems, and then he had arm problems this year. I think it would have been smarter to let it play out.
I think he needs I don't know what's wrong with Sale. Does he need off-season surgery? Because, get that now, so you're back.
I think he pitched too many innings, and he just shut down. And then he came into this year with too many innings pitched.
But then he also didn't do anything in spring training either. So, to get ready. And
that's what I'm saying.
Opening day, boom.
Like, this guy pitched too many innings, they try to give him a day off, and then he comes into the year and he's like, nothing. Like, you can't do that.
I don't think you needed him for the World Series save. I'm pretty sure anyone could have got those extra. There was 3 outs? He gave it in the ninth.
I think they made a lot of mistakes this year. I really did. I think Dave Dombrowski absolutely deserved to get fired. It would have been one thing if he tried and he said, listen, you know what? We're going to try to fix the bullpen. We're not going to bring back Steve Pearce for no goddamn reason. We're going to at least try to improve this team. He didn't improve the team at all.
The team got worse. And it's not just by winning losses. It just, talent-wise, got worse.
And he just rolled out that...
Devers improving. And Vasquez improving.
He just rolled out that same group and said, listen, they're good at done again. You can't do that.
Well, no. They could have done that again had you done something right.
Yes.
Gotten a close.
He did.
No. See, if you had gotten Kimbrel, and Kimbrel was just terrible, I wouldn't have blamed you.
That's what I'm saying.
Kimbrel won you a...
He tried...
Kimbrel won you a World Series.
He literally sat there and said, our bullpen's fine. We don't need anything. Press conference after press conference. You got problems, buddy.
No, listen here. The bullpen almost cost us last year.
Yeah.
Every time they came into the game last year, I was like, no, stay. Just stay in an extra inning, please.
I'll say this, though. I'm encouraged with Bloom because that bullpen that Tampa has right now are a bunch of nobodies, and they're really good.
Well, they had one reliever that I've always kept my... I keep forgetting their names.
Pagan was really good for them. He stole them from the A's, by the way. Castillo was good. Alvarado was good.
Alvarado, that's him. That's the guy I'm really high on this one.
I think they had a lot of bullpen arms that were really good. I think he built a lot of good pitchers, had a good farm system. They have one of the great farm systems. I think Bloom's going to do good things here.
I don't think the Red Sox will. I think the Red Sox window might have, with Bloom, the Red Sox window may have potentially closed for now, but it'll be opening in 4 years.
I don't think it is closed right now.
I think the direction he may want to go may slightly hinder it for now.
I really don't think they're that far away. They had the third best offense in baseball this year.
Yeah, but Now, if we're keeping it under the luxury tax, things got to change.
They had the third best offense in baseball last year. Let's say, for argument's sake, and I think this will happen, they bring back Betts. And then you also throw in Benintendi, who I think will get better. Let's say you even get the same years out of Bogarts and Devers. All you really got to do is just not have a terrible bottom of the... Like, the thing I hated about this Red Sox lineup with Dabrowski is, like, we got nothing out of the bottom of the order. Nothing. And they were still good.
Was a nice surprise.
Yes, but, like, there were nights. You go 7, 8, 9, and they're just not doing anything. Bradley's giving you nothing, and whoever, like Moreland, give me a break. And second base, if I had to watch Eduardo Nunez go out there one more day, I might have murdered him myself.
Actually, he did one thing right. He let go of Eduardo Nunez.
Well, he had a negative WAR last year. Negative.
You know? Do you hate Eduardo Nunez more than you hate Bryce Harper?
Ooh. No. I think I hate Harper more.
All right, see, I wasn't going to call you a hater before. In this case, sometimes it's right. You can't be a hater if it's true. But no, this is hating. If you'd rather have Eduardo Nunez.
No, I'm saying
Harper.
In terms of like players that I like hate and dislike.
No, I'm talking about like if you had to have one.
Oh, I'd rather have. Is the cost included?
Yes, but you're starting a team.
I'd rather
nothing else is there.
I'd rather have Nunez for like $2 million than have Harper for $30 million.
Nunez, all he does is lose you games.
Yes.
All he does. Harper sometimes will hit a walk-off homer.
Nunez had one good hit in his life against Alex Wood.
Okay. I guarantee you Harper had more walk-off home runs last year than good games by Eduardo Nunez.
I mean, you're talking about like finding the time the old lady crossed the street by herself. That's like Eduardo Nunez.
Exactly. You're not getting a good game out of Nunez ever. Ever.
He hit a home run in the World Series.
You're not getting one. Okay, but that's fair. In the World Series, he was okay. But we also were on some Alex Cora, I ain't losing cocaine or some shit.
I think.
Pardon my language, but.
What about the catching situation? I've been a Sandy Leone defender, but I almost feel like they have to upgrade. And I hate saying it.
That's 100% true. It's just, it is what it is. Like, if Sale doesn't like it, I don't know. Figure it out.
How about this most recent World Series? I always feel like there's kind of lessons you can take from it. I think number one lesson, you can't just go cheap at first base. Like, Yuli Gurriel played good defensive first. Ryan Zimmerman played a good defensive first. I feel like you can't just throw Chavis out there, who doesn't really play good defensive first. Then you have center field, Victor Robles, George Springer. Those guys covered a lot of ground. I think they really helped the defensive outfield. So while you can get rid of Bradley, I don't feel like you can get rid of that skill set. And I don't know, I just feel like there's lessons from how did this team win the World Series? You still got to put a good defensive team out there.
What happened was, and this will always be true, good pitching beats good hitting. And you have to be aggressive. You have to.
And starting pitching is becoming more and more valuable. So while, yes, you may want to trade David Price, I think those teams that didn't have the good starters, like the Yankees, who overused their bullpen, lost. And the teams like the Nats, where they invested heavily in the starting pitching, they gave their bullpen as many days off as they could, and it worked. So while we may want to bang on all these starters that we have, I don't think it's a bad thing.
I wasn't banging on David Price in the sense that I think it's a good idea to trade him. I'm looking cost effectively, and what does history tell us?
It's who?
What is David Price? What has history taught us about David Price?
He's kind of a weirdo that has good command, but when he doesn't have good command, he gets shelled. And he's usually bad against the Yankees, but he had a good postseason run, and the reporters kind of don't like him, but I kind of like him now that he shoved it down their throats during the postseason. That's about all I got on him.
No, I'm talking about so in big game history. Yes, he had a good World Series and a good playoff run, but was that just a really good stretch of games, or is that a sign of things to come?
Hey,
in big games, can you trust him?
You know what he said when he signed with Boston? He was saving all his postseason wins for the Red Sox. That's what he said when he signed.
Yeah, in 2016 and 2017, was he not playing for Boston then too?
I'm just telling you what he said. He was saving them up.
I'm just saying, history tells us he's not a good postseason pitcher. History tells us that.
All right. I think we covered most of it. Do you have anything else? Anything else? Thank the heavens I don't have to see Rick Porcello again.
Oh, that is the one thing. If Bloom brings him back, I'm just not. I like him right now, but if you bring him back for anything more than $1 million, and that might be too much too, but if you bring him back for more than $1 million, I am done with you.
All right. You have anything else?
Any thoughts on maybe Pedroia coming back next year?
I mean, I would love that, but I don't. How would I know how his knee's doing?
No, I'm saying if he's coming back, what do you do with Chavis?
I guess you'd have to make him a utility guy. He would be the new Brock Holt, I guess.
I mean, but he could be such a good hitter. He could be.
I think he needs to stop striking out all the time. That would be great.
No, I agree, but that was his rookie year.
I think he's got potential.
So
I don't think if the hypothetical of Pedroia coming back really changes his outlook. I think he's still going to be in the lineup.
At that point, then you would put him at first base, right?
Probably, yeah.
Hypothetically, Pedroia comes back, you have that. Even if you keep Price, you get Wheeler. And you can figure out something with this damn bullpen. Is that a World Series team?
I think it could be. Let's stack these teams up. Like this offense is very, very good. Are they that much worse than Houston if Houston loses Cole? The Yankees, like, if they don't get starting pitching, I don't think the Yankees are that dangerous if they don't have starting pitching.
Well, not only that, but Verlander's getting older, and do they have Greinke under contract for this year or next year too?
Yeah.
But he's getting older too. He'll be like 36.
I think Houston's window's closing. I think the Red Sox could very well win the AL, no doubt.
And I guess it just matters if we face off against who we face off against, right? If it's the Dodgers, I guess we'll have one more in Beantown.
Dodgers.
Well, I'm just hoping. I like beating LA. I'm a Boston homegrown. All I care about is beating LA.
Dodgers. They're such frauds.
Kerchoke. I actually feel bad for Clayton Kerchoke.
Stop it. Stop it.
I felt bad for David Price when he couldn't win too. It's just like, you're so good, but at the very end you're so bad. You're so bad. All
right. I think that's good for today. We got 50 minutes out of us.
I mean, I'm always good to yell for 50 minutes if I got it.
All right. Make sure to follow Zach on Twitter. I'll drop his handle in the little brief description. Thank you for listening to That's Some Cheese, and we will see you next time.
Tell you something. You know what really grinds my gears? You, America. Fuck you, Diane.